Hello, everybody, and thank you for watching the Festival of the Unexplained. So we've had an action-packed day so far, and I'm really, really glad that you're all enjoying it. So thank you for all your questions that keep coming in, and don't forget to keep on putting those questions into our group chat. And also, you can catch up on this on YouTube if you happen to miss it. We have an amazing guest for us this evening. This gentleman needs no explanations. His name is Domination all over the paranormal field. You'll know him from Paranormal Lockdown. You'll also know him from the earlier ages of Ghost Adventures. But we have a scoop, a huge exclusive for the Festival of the Unexplained. So I'm going to introduce Karen, who's going to be with us as well. And the gentleman who is with us is Mr. Nick Groff. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. No, I'm excited to be here. It's a great day. Things are happening. And, even in the crazy world that we're living in, we can still do this, which is fun.
I know. And this is the reason why we've done this, is because we can't host a physical event. So this is a free online event, which people can't believe that we're actually doing this. We did one back in August that was so successful that we decided we had to do it again. So I reached out to you because I've worked with you in the past and thought I know just the person to have on our screens. So I do really appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. No, I couldn't resist, there's so much, I have so much energy, but it's like conquering one thing after another during the day. So many projects that we're working on and everything, but I had to talk to you. Honestly, you were a huge help when we were working on Paranormal Lockdown. You were great help on finding locations and working together and stuff like that. So thank you for all the help.
And it's always there in case you need it in the future. So I'd like to introduce you to Karen as well, who is our co-host this evening.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, and thank you for coming on. We really do appreciate it. I try not to bombard you with too many questions, but we have a few from the audience.
All right, let's get into them.
So yeah, it's such an exciting time for you at the moment, isn't it? We've seen you on Paranormal Lockdown, and we can discuss that shortly. But we have an exclusive, and I'm so excited about this. So do you want to do some questions first, or do you want to go straight into?
Let's go straight in and let everybody know what Nick has got coming up, because I can't wait. So yeah, I'm excited, and so let's let everybody else know what he's got coming up, so they can also find out why we're so excited.
Yeah, I mean, I just announced Deathwalker, my new series that is dropping Halloween Day on VidiSpace. So it's going to be exclusive to Vidi in America right now, and we're going to release that for all the American audience. And then it's going to be hitting every single territory around the world. We're working on that very shortly. So if you go to VidiSpace, VIDI.space, you can sign up, you can see it, you can watch it, be a part of that experience. It's amazing. It's probably one of the most incredible things I've done. Back in the day, Ghost Adventures was my first baby. Paranormal Lockdown was like the next step up. And I was like, wow. And then I just felt like it's time to evolve and push the paranormal forward. And I'm really passionate about it. I love theories. I love out of the box thinking. And, we all don't have the right answer about life, death, and the journey just in general through the experience that we live every day in our each individual self. So I just wanted to create conversations, look at it from a different perspective, and try to compare two locations into one and see what the evidence is like. See if we could collectively come together as human beings and evolve together. And I feel like that's what it's missing right now, is we kind of have to come together. We have to create conversations, and we have to keep thinking out of that perspective that we kind of get stuck into that little box. We kind of go through the redundancy, especially with paranormal investigating. So really, Deathwalker is all of that. It just captivates everything from this kind of compelling standpoint of this narrative, where you're kind of going on a journey with me into these locations, and we're pulling back the layers from a different perspective. So I think people are going to find it very fascinating. Halloween, it comes out, and October 31st in Deathwalker will be on VidiSpace in America. And then stay tuned for more announcing different territories all over the world, which we're working on right now, which is incredible. So it will be worldwide. And I'm really excited because on October 30th, we are releasing what I'm super excited. We just announced it's going to be a Seance Revisited. And where that's going to be is live for everybody in the world to watch at the Conjuring House. So it's going to be absolutely epic. So, you know, the movie based on the Conjuring movie and Lorraine Warren, how they've been there, and they had one of the most scariest encounters when they did their seance. So we are going there. I have Megan coming in, who's a great friend of mine. She's going to conduct some rituals, and then we're going to build towards leading to that seance together collectively as one. And everybody in the world will be able to watch that as one group, which will be interesting to me because it's all about people's intent, people's projected like energies. And I think if we all come together in the world and we watch live and we're thinking, everyone's kind of going to be there together as one. If you really think about it, we'll be live and we'll all be together during this seance doing it, which will be incredible.
Is it going to be interactive as well? You know, are people going to be able to tell you what they're experiencing, if they're experiencing anything at home?
Yes. So on VidiSpace, you'll be able to write in live in the live chat. You'll be able to write in your comments, your experiences, what you're seeing. There will be a ton of static cameras that will be switching back and forth. You'll be able to see everything, every angle. And basically, you'll be able to experience that at home and basically write in and see what you see. So it's a great opportunity for everyone, especially if you're interested in the paranormal or just the subject matter or just to see what happens. It's a thrilling part of this October, which I think everyone's going to have a great time doing. You know, it's Fear October. That's what we're calling it in our press release. So it's going to be really fun. Also, we have Shocktober, which is a haunted house experience. So it's interactive haunted house that we're going through. That is actually a real haunted house, but now they transformed it into this really unique haunted house where you can walk through it. So it's a great foundation for a charity and to help people with disabilities, you know, and basically a lot of the money goes to the disability and stuff for their charity. So we teamed up with them. VidiSpace teamed up with them. Elizabeth Saint directed it and put it together. And basically I had the opportunity to walk through this amazing haunted house and you get to watch that experience. So we have a lot coming out this month, and we teamed up with the Ghost Finders and Ghost Finders with Rob and Megan and Dan. Yep. We have Winchester Mystery House Special coming out, which is absolutely amazing. And also, I got my good friends Josh Hurd, Johnny Hauser doing one of the most epic experiments coming out where they're taking the Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa, and also Malvern Manor, the other haunted location, and they're doing one huge experiment together as this massive, like, crazy special. So are they
doing them in both houses then?
Yep.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's incredible. Yeah. We have a lot going on, and that's just like scratching the surface. But once you read the press release and you see the trailers and you watch Deathwalker teaser and the promo pictures, I think everyone's going to be hooked, you know. And, you know, the thing that people need to understand too is VidiSpace is cheaper than cable television right now. So you're getting all this content. And we have a special code right now going on. If you look at the press release and you look at our things that we're putting out, we have a special code where you're pretty much going to get half off. So it's super cheap. You can watch it on your TV screens, your laptops, your iPhones, Roku app.
And that doesn't matter where in the world you are, does it, either? You can just watch it when you want to.
Yep. So depending on what part of the territory or like countries and stuff like you're in, depending on how they work it, but VidiSpace goes worldwide and you can pretty much be a part of all that experience.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. Because you've got different packages, haven't you, for your subscription for VidiSpace? So it's basically affordable for everyone.
Yes. Yep. You can rent it if you don't want to become a member. There's a 14-day free trial. If you want to sign up, be a member every month. There's a code you can put in and get half off, which I mean, I think it's like $3 and, you know, some change. And then basically, or you can do pay-per-view where you can rent as you go. You can rent. You could buy the whole season of Deathwalker. You could rent the episodes. You know, there's so many different ways. So it's just one of those things. We don't want to just lock you in, like, you know, when you get into cable network or other dealers, you're like, oh, I have this yearly subscription I got to pay every month and it's crazy expensive. I believe personally, streaming is the future. Streaming is going to be everything. It's like when you had your cassette tape back in the day, and then all of a sudden you can just go on your what's the internet? You can download your music or listen to your music. Same situation that's happening. But I also believe in the content, and I believe in the realism behind what we're doing, and I believe in the filmmakers and the indie filmmakers and the people that don't have the opportunity to take that next step. That's what I'm really about, is helping artists or individuals like us come together and be one. No corporations, no big things like that. I feel like this is the way to do it. really break
Because
it down.
because there are so many independent filmmakers and producers out there who have written shows who physically can't get anywhere because the networks just they say it's too similar to this, it's too similar to that. However, it's totally different. And then you've got other people trying to steal those ideas, and then you don't know where to turn, you don't know where to trust. You should just produce it and do it that way. And it's a great platform if streaming is going to be the future, isn't it? Like we said.
Yeah, it definitely will. It's a matter of time. Even cable networks are moving to streaming platforms. I mean, you can see it, and we've just been doing it for about 3 years now. So VidiSpace is really taking off, and we're excited. And it's a community. I think that's what's most important. It's a community that we're building together. We call it the Spacers. We're all Spacers. We're in this other universe outside of this universe, and we can just kind of be free as one, and float through the space and just say, oh, this interests me or that interests me. I want to feel this experience right now. And we can it brings you a little bit closer to what we do, who we are. And, it's just one of those things that we want to bring people together. And I think that's what a lot of stuff is missing. There's a lot of divided situations where it kind of forces you to like watch this or be in that group or whatever. I think everything coexists together in a weird way. I'm all about positivity and stuff and energy and your intent you put out in the universe. But I'm also like, I love to make a good impact for the future because life is short, So we're all about putting out unbelievable content, pushing the boundaries, trying different things, thinking outside the box. And really that's VidiSpace stands for the independent, artist at heart.
Yeah. But obviously, you've just touched upon there about we only have one life, and all of this started for you when you had a near-death experience, basically, wasn't it? So do you want to, because a lot of people in the UK are not very familiar with how you came into the paranormal. They obviously see the shows, they see everything else, but what prompted you to use that experience to kind of delve a little bit more?
I don't think I ever really thought of it like that was the moment that transformed me to say I want to go look for paranormal or whatever. I actually was very fascinated in aliens and extraterrestrials and space and time. Area 51 I was big into when I was about 13 years old. So I've always been big into like the paranormal subject matter. My grandmother in New England used to talk about ghosts and stuff like that all the time with me. So I think it was a combination of everything. But when I was 8 years old, I was climbing a tree and I fell from the tree and ripped open my left arm. And you can see a huge scar right here. And I ripped it open on a cyclone fence and basically it shredded to the bone. My mom saw me from 100 yards away. And I had this weird experience that I didn't think about for a long time, but I remember it vividly where I blacked out. And I jumped up and I said, "Mom, I love you." And then I collapsed. And then I remember opening my eyes and seeing all these faces looking down at me. My mom says she came to me. She like mother mode kicked in. She ripped up her shirt and like tied up my arm. And it was like a half inch off of my artery. The doctor said I pretty much almost bled out and died. Wow. If it wasn't for my mom's quick thinking. And she carried me inside. And she said there was like 1 or 2 people in there calling the ambulance. There wasn't a crowd of people around you. Like I visioned it or whatever. And then I remember waking up in the hospital and, they're sewing my arm back up and stuff. But it was weird because throughout life after that, I remember having some interesting experiences. Like, it's almost like I had that skating on thin ice, crossing over situation, that a lot of people talk about. So I had this experience of seeing the shadow figure man in our old house in Salem, New Hampshire, when I walked up by myself into the kitchen, and it was at like this door. But I'm so logical that I'm like, okay, it scared me so bad I ran out of the house into my neighbor's yard. My parents weren't home yet from school, and it's like, was my mind messing with me? Did I experience that? Whatever. And I went through life questioning a lot of things. But I think it was just more about the thrill and the adventure for me, exploring these kind of uncharted territories that have all this paranormal phenomena wrapped around like certain places, like, oh, this ghost story, that urban legend, or the story of so-and-so. And I grew up loving horror films. I was a film fanatic, so I loved every horror movie you could think of. And I was really interested in just all the subject matter of like paranormal and horror and this and that. So not until I went to Las Vegas for college, UNLV, I graduated. I took a spring break and I went to the little town of Rachel, where Area 51 is close to. I went to Tonopah, Goldfield, Virginia City, Nevada, near Reno, and I just became fascinated by all the history and the buildings and like the unique characters that surrounded these places. And that's why I started really diving into like ghosts and learning more about like some of the stories and stuff. And I met Zach and Aaron later, and I said, "You guys want to go look for ghosts?" And that's how Ghost Ventures all started. And then filmed everything, I edited everything. Long story short, and I said, "Let's call it Ghost Adventures." And I created the title, and then all agreed, and basically that happened. And it kind of just like it's weird. So there wasn't like a moment that just like this is what I'm gonna do. It kind of just like happened. I never thought about it. I just was fascinated, and I really believe like at this point in my life now, at the middle of my life right now, I feel like everything is a life journey.
Yeah.
When you don't forcefully try to be that, or you don't forcefully like, I need to be on TV, or I need to do this, or I need to be like, forget about all that. Just do what you believe in. Go after what you love. Be passionate for what it is that you're putting your heart and your soul, your blood, sweat, and tears into, and great things will happen possibly. If it doesn't happen, keep doing something else. Like I always have like 20 things going. What's going to be that next cool thing that, okay, that goes cool, and that's exactly what happened. It just happened like that. And it became a phenomenon, and that one turned into the other one. And the next stepping stone was Paranormal Lockdown. The next stepping stone was this and that. And now here I am. It's like, it's interesting to me how life is, like we're all challenged by certain things in life. And it's like one challenge that you conquer can lead to something else. One door closes, another door opens. Like things happen that way. And you got to listen to the universe because in your gut, you got to listen to your intuition and really believe in like yourself and be able to look in the mirror and feel like contempt and have no regrets, because life can be just like that. It can be taken away from you just like that. And you never know. So you just live it to your fullest potential, and you try to like do the best thing possible. We all make mistakes, right? No one's perfect.
No one's perfect.
But that's what human is being about. Don't forget to laugh, enjoy life, have fun. But when you're gonna go for something, don't just talk about it. Go for it.
Exactly.
Do it,
And that's what I think. That's what a lot of people don't do they? They come up against the stumbling blocks and kind of sit there and say all of the reasons as to why they can't achieve something, not all of the reasons why they should try and achieve it. And like you say, life is so short, and we do get one shot at it. And I believe in yourself. Whatever you put out to the universe, you're manifesting that. And it's as long as you're doing it with such positivity, you will reap those rewards back. And we've been talking about this over the past couple of days, haven't we, Karen? Just
we actually quite a lot.
What we want to achieve, where we want to go. And it's all about I've been sat there saying, right, we could do this, we could do that, and it's paving the way now for something a little bit more a little bit more extravagant than what we anticipated, to be honest. But it'll happen. So that's good. But you just don't seem to stop, though, do you? I mean, you've got the Death Locker now, and you just mentioned you've got about 20 things on the table all at one time, and you've worked with some amazing people out there as well. Ghost of Shepherdstown, you did quite a lot with that. Who are you going to be coming up working against in the future, apart from obviously the guys that you've mentioned?
Yeah, I'm working with a lot of people right now. I'm good friends with pretty much everybody across the board. And I think it's just one of those things when it's time to cross paths with somebody or team up or do this and that with, I think it will be meant to be, and it's supposed to happen. I do my podcast show every day with the G Crew, Josh Hurd, Johnny Hauser, Chad Lundberg. They're all great friends of mine. And I don't know, my circle of friendship is like really tight, because I've been through the ringer. Like, look, I've been through all the challenges and weird things and the politics and blah, blah, blah in the industry. And it's like, I am who I am. Like, I have no ego. I stick to my roots. I know where I came from, and I am very rooted, and I want to work hard. I want to be passionate, and I have to really believe in whatever the project I'm working on, because then it's just no point to me. I don't know. I just don't like doing things just to do things or be like, oh, I can be on TV for 5 minutes or whatever. I honestly don't care unless I'm passionate about it, because to me, it's not fulfilling to really go for those aims or those goals and try to push the boundaries or do something that's great rather than do something that's like mediocre, and just because. I don't know. I always say this to myself. I say I'd rather be remembered as some sort of legend who did something groundbreaking that's remembered forever and can be looked back on in 100 years and be like that person, rather than running around, I don't know, like a clown for 5 minutes or something. So that's just how I'm kind of tackling things these days. And I'm really excited about the future. I'm excited about right now. I'm excited about, what we have coming. And I think people will really appreciate it. And, I really stand for the people, honestly. I stand for the people, and I stand for people like us that want to do great things and want to, really work hard to push the envelope a little bit, for paranormal content or a documentary or whatever it is that you're really passionate about.
Yeah, I believe that too. I think it's really important that you are passionate about what you do, and it literally comes across with you. We don't even, without you even saying it, I know you have done, but it just comes across in your whole mannerisms, the way you are as a person, that you can just tell that you have to be passionate about it. Otherwise, you do come across that type of person that you're not interested, you wouldn't be interested, and you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's always great to be humble though as well, because people relate to people who are humble, aren't they? And that is one part of the battle when you're on TV and you're wanting people to watch your shows, and they want to know that you're the family man underneath everything. They want to know that you're humble and you're going to stick to your roots, and your friends are your friends for a reason. So that's good.
I'm very humbled. Like, I've been up here, I've been down here, I've been here. Like, I'm humbled as can be. Honestly, I get it. Like, I work so hard, and honestly, blood, sweat, and tears into every project I probably have ever worked on. So when I'm like 150% in. Like, that's just my mentality. Maybe it stems from being a competitive swimmer when I was young, or like, I don't know, but it basically, like for an example, Mike Couch with Lost Limbs Foundation called me. He says, I want to climb a mountain. I said, all right, let's climb a mountain. He had to do it on crutches. His prosthetic leg broke. He couldn't climb with his prosthetic leg. So we resorted to crutches, and I had to carry him a mile up the mountain at one point, and it was hard. But that turned into a great series named Unlimited Journey, which is on Amazon Prime. You can watch now in VidiSpace. And I feel like stuff like that is inspiring to other people who want to give up or say, man, I don't know how to do this. Everyone try. Like, I've met a lot of people who have great ideas, great concepts, and are going to do it, or they suddenly put up walls or put up barriers for themselves and say, I can't. And you say, what? Why can't you? Well, I don't have the money, or I don't have this, or I don't have that camera, or what. Be creative, think outside the box. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it, but you have to have focus, and you have to have the energy, more energy than the next person who's doing the same thing. Billion somewhat people in this world. Like, there's probably millions trying to do the same exact thing, but how much more do you want it? Like, that's the thing you got to tell yourself every day. Like, how much more? It's like, if you just told yourself this, every second that we're talking right now, we're passing away. Think about it. And that's the truth, right? It sounds depressing, right? But it's actually not. It can be super positive, and it could like really wake you up and say, wow, wait, every second that I'm listening to this right now of us talking, and every second that I'm talking, I'm passing away. I'm getting older. Our bodies grow older. We get older, and we slowly die. But what does not die is the energy in this body, is the conscious thought, and everything you resonate out from this body. That's what does not die. So how bad do you want that to be a mark when this body dies? So think about it. And then when you wake up, you say, wow, all right, let's go after it. Because that's how I live. And basically I will conquer anything that I put my mind to, but it has to be focused energy. You can have 20 things. Forget the Forget the 19 things, focus on the one thing that you know is the next thing. Once that one thing goes, then focus on the 19th thing, then the 18th thing, and then be like, all right, here's the other 5 things. You know what I mean? Really focus your energy, because rather than being scattered and be like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then nothing ever gets done. It's what I've learned. You have to have focused energy and stuff.
There's no productivity if you have so much on the go and you don't focus, is there? So
right.
Yeah.
That was literally one of the questions we were asked to ask you, actually. You have mentioned it a little bit. But one of the things we want to know is, what do you think happens when we die? What do you believe? That's one of our team members has asked us to ask you that question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I obviously don't have the right answer, because I think it's one of those things that we all have different ideas. We have different theories. We can sit over dinner and whatever and conversate about it for a long time and go down that rabbit hole. I think there's a ton of different possibilities. I don't know. I believe in, like, I've had ideas about past lives. I've had ideas about, if you don't get it right in this life, you keep coming back until you get it right in a weird way. You can't have regrets. You kind of have to let go of that energy and be free, I think, is one. I mean, possibly you could go to space, to some other universe, to some other planet as an energetic form. If you think about it, we're all energetically connected in this kind of cobweb, right? All of us humans are. And we live in this universe together and we coexist in a weird way. And, I think that's the problem too with human beings, because we want to be so in power and so in this hierarchy of all these things. And I get the hierarchy and I get the reasons why, but I think when we die, you have to have an understanding I think wholeheartedly about yourself. I really think it stems from the core. Everything, like the strength and everything, comes from the core and resonates out. It's the same thing with fitness or anything that you think of. Everything comes from the core. You get stronger out, right? So same thing with the idea, the heart, the soul, the core, the mind, body, spirit, all that stuff resonates out. So I think it's the belief in ideas and information we collect over our journey gets collected into this most powerful thing in the world. The brain builds this consciousness. And I think all of that kind of attracts together when the body gives up. And I have a lot of skeptical friends that don't believe anything happens. They believe nothing happens when you die, which I think is interesting, because I'm like, well, that's still believing something happens when you die. So it's kind of interesting, because then they believe, like my good friends believe that, okay, make it your best life possible. So when you go, your memories and all the things you've done are remembered. And that's kind of what your ghost is, your spirit is, and whatever you want to call it. That's what's left behind. I believe that, I think we become this energetic form, and I hope we move on to a better place. I really hope we move on to a better place and we get it right in this life. We go through what we have to go through in all of our individual journeys, and we have to go through the pain, we have to go through the suffering, we have to go through the challenges, we have to go through the happy and sad times to evolve as an energy form, to manifest into something greater. Because if you look at human beings in third world countries born into poverty, some people will claim this to be hell or limbo or Dante's Inferno or whatever you want to call it. And then some people, have it a little bit easier. But I know a lot of people who have it a little bit easier and they're still not happy. So what does happen when you die? That's the ultimate question I think humans have been asking since the dawn of, people being born into this world. And I think we just have to keep questioning and keep conversations going and keep thinking about time and space and different ideas and theories. And there is no right answer. I don't know. And
the mediumship has been around for, since God knows how long, the Victorian seances. And, we get to the point where, mediums were saying that people existed and they were having ectoplasm excrete from all, noses, mouths, everywhere, and saying that they had intellectual beings, talking to them, and people were photographed and things like that. So how, it's all about that energy that that is intelligent as well. How does somebody communicate with somebody on just a normal radio in somebody's living room and gives back intelligent answers? That's when skeptics are, when that's happened and skeptics have sat there and said, I would never have believed that would have happened because that person died 10 years ago.
Right.
Had nothing. And I think I don't know. I'm a bit like you, very humble. You know, you've got to go with the highs, you've got to go with the lows. And, you know, Karen's exactly the same, you know, when you put out there what you want. But I'm a bit like you, believe that life is not, life comes in lessons, but then it's also a blessing. So some are lessons and some are blessings. And I kind of think that they kind of intermingle with each other. And I think, you know, if you can take some lessons away from this life and, you know, you are humble and you put everything out there positively, then, you know, you will reap the benefits. And if you don't, then, you know, you obviously haven't learned those lessons that you were here to learn. And I think that's kind of like, I don't know, I think that's probably more of a religious kind of thing for me more than anything. I'm not, you know, I'm not a God. I don't visit the church or anything, but I do think that if you stay true to yourself, then you will reap those benefits. And, you know, like I've said to you, Karen, haven't I, in the past?
Yeah, you have done. And, you know, like I said, there's something else that we talk about a lot of things.
No, I love it. I love it.
And that's like one of the things I wanted to ask. You mentioned about past life regression. It's something that, well, you had regression, but you mentioned about past lives. Past lives is something that really piques my interest. And it is something I'm very interested in. And I do believe that, you know, we could have been here before and we have come back to learn the lessons that we didn't learn previously. Past life regression is something that I'd really like to do. Is it something you've done or you would be open to doing?
Yeah, I definitely want to be open to do it. But I've had visions of my past, seeing myself with other people that I remember, you know? So I've actually had experiences like that where it's like, okay, I'll hold those dear to my heart if it's true or not, but I believe that it's happened to me, and that's how deep it goes, you know? So that's all I need. And I think it's just about experiences, but you nailed it really, really good. It's really about learning. It's really just about learning. And if we can't be open-minded to learning or receiving information rather than being closed off from information, I think that's just an issue. But that's something that somebody has to struggle through with their own, you know, their own self or whatever. But I know a lot of great mediums, and I know a lot of great people who have the ability to tap into that extra sense or have the ability to hone in their skills to that. But I think everybody has that ability since childhood. But I think we close it off because we build up all these walls in this work atmosphere and all the noise, the excess noise from the world. You know, it's so distracting. I even say it all the time. I'm like, man, I'm so distracted by all the noise. I just need to focus on this because once you start getting distracted by the noise or the social media or this or that, you fall trapped to the rest of like this world's kind of like drag down. It's like anchors, you know? And like once you start laying little anchors affect you, I think it affects everything else. So yeah. Spiritualism has been around forever. I mean, spiritualism was a big thing. People were using spirit boards, talking boards, stuff like that, you know, 1700s, 1800s over like tea. They would just get together and have tea. And it wasn't like this crazy thing like, oh my gosh, heads are going to spin, you know? So I think Hollywood and movies and TV and whatever has kind of tainted the environment from the perspective of people's perception to view it as something that's so evil or demonic or suddenly everything's demons and whatever, you know? I think we have to take a step back and say, okay, I believe there's negative and positive for sure. I believe there's something that is humane, just like anything else. We're human beings. There could be other possibilities beyond, you know, what we comprehend, like in other dimensions, other alter realities, stuff like that in other universes. I believe space bleeds through to other time, you know, like we're in this time and suddenly that time bleeds through and then we think they're a ghost, they think we're a ghost, and that just becomes the whole thing, you know?
It's really strange that because the time slips kind of, that's where I live, in just outside of the Black Monk House. I live not far from there, and just in a small little village, they have what's known as a time slip, and there's a paranormal investigation team who go there, and they've actually seen this happen, and they tried to photograph it, but what they photographed was the part of the house but part of the house as it used to look back in around about the 1800s. And they said that there is a very well-known time slip and you know, all about, you know, the quantum physics of how the world works and the Earth's pull on the atmosphere and how that can kind of bring, I'm going all scientific and technical now.
No,
But
I
how
love
that
it.
kind of pulls into everything. You know, what's
Yeah.
your take on that?
Oh yeah, I believe it big time. I actually go deep into it on Deathwalker, the new series that I'm launching, and we go into that. We go into time. We go into the idea of we're not necessarily dealing with a ghost like we know it, but we're dealing with somebody who's actually in. So we go to Brushy Mountain Prison and we're in the solitary confinement and we're down there and we're getting intelligent voices coming through that are clear. We have this direct communication and conversation happening, and basically I realized that, oh my gosh, we could be possibly talking to somebody right now in his time that is alive, that's into solitary confinement, imprisoned right here, and he's communicating with us because he loses all his senses from being vulnerable in this situation of pitch darkness for months, and suddenly he's tapping in. Maybe he thinks he's going crazy, hearing our voices come through to his space, and we're in the reality hearing his voices come through the geoport and, you know, our ears and whatever in our senses, and that's how we're communicating. But we each think he's a ghost, I'm a ghost, but we're really talking to each other like a telephone to the dead, in a sense, you know, or to the other side. So it's really interesting. I think that's what we dive a lot into. You know, and I see a lot of comments about like people that get like really science heavy, like, no, this is how it works, and no, this is how like Tesla and Einstein, and this is how it breaks down. Like, you know, people with really high IQs that probably are way over my head. Like, look, I'm a scientist and I will never preach to be one, but it's okay to have a conversation and be open about stuff. Nobody has the right answer. You can break stuff down X, Y, and Z all you want all day long and be smarter than the next person, but honestly, it still doesn't give me clarification or validation of like exactly what we're dealing with. You can say audio waves travel, audio waves, you know, don't die. You could talk about time. You could break it down to physics and so on, quantum physics and whatever. But still, it's like we're learning new things every day. We're discovering new species just in our planet.
But then again, the scientists can't take away your own personal experiences, can they? And that's, you know, that's the beauty of it. When you've had those experiences and you can sit there and say, I heard that with my own ears. They cannot, you know, argue it away with science and things like that because they physically haven't had that experience.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that was something else I wanted to ask you about in particular was,
are we doing this whole thing again?
We are, Jolene. We do this all the time. Normally she asks all my questions and I just sit here and smile. But
that's the thing.
We love you, Karen. Let's hear it.
But yeah, this is the way Jolene and I work. We work like this together all the time, whether it's interviews, whether it's out in the field, or, you know, we don't have to be together. This is what we're like. But for me, I really like to know, because you've had a lot of personal experiences. And yeah, again, another one of our team members also, he was asking me, like, you need to ask, you know, it's one of the questions yet again he wanted to ask. And he wants to know, is there one particular experience you've had? Obviously, you've had your near-death experience, but is there any other particular experience you've had which has really made you think, and it's just being above and beyond anything else you've experienced before?
Yeah, there's been a ton through my journey. I always say, oh, that's the one. And then there's another one. Linda Vista Hospital in 2009 in East LA. I was standing there and I turned around and I saw a woman standing there 2 feet in front of my face. You know, she had the hospital gown on with little flower patterns. Her face was white, glowing kind of in the dark. And she kind of reached out at me. That really opened my mind up to the possibilities of how can something physically form in front of me where it's a solid figure. I mean, at first I thought it was someone who broke in the location. I thought it was, you know, it looked like a real person standing in the darkness. That scared me. And then I realized that a nurse from the 1980s came forth on a sketch drawing that I did of what I experienced. And she said, that's the same woman that would show up when we would be doing surgery in that same trauma center room. And people would see her appear and the doctors would say, you can't be in here, leave. And she would disappear. So that validated for me that, you know, I wasn't hallucinating, going crazy or whatever. And yeah, I think that experience was interesting. I've had a lot. I've had Shepton Mallet Prison in the UK there. I saw shadow figures with my eyes just stand there during dusk when the sun was going down. You could see them crossing from one jail cell to the next. I've never seen so many shadow figures with my own eyes before in my life. It's weird. It opened my brain up to, okay, what are these? Are they cloaking figures? Are they observers? Are they something that is like spiritual energy forms, or is it something of higher intelligence coming down and just collectively gathering evidence at traumatic locations? So I started going down the rabbit hole with that one. So yeah, I've had some crazy experiences, just bizarre stuff,
And do you agree, like, your personal experience is the ultimate? It doesn't matter. You can catch EVPs, you can get video recordings and so on, but a personal experience is something completely different.
Yeah, I do agree, because everyone can have a different experience and energies affect people differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Hinsdale house in Hinsdale, New York really affected me when I first went there. Then I started working there. I've been putting together a huge project for the last 5 years there with Dan Class and our whole team, Vidi Space, and we're coming out with a massive documentary that's going to be epic. It's probably one of the greatest things I've ever done, and I'm excited about it because we're pulling back the layers that we didn't know about the land and the location, and that location affects everybody. I just had a live investigation I did there that got broadcasted on Vidi, and there was a ton of people watching, and everyone was saying so many different things about the energy, about what happened. Then we had two great mediums there. Tessa and her friend was there, and they were both, and another person that was there, Jerry and Dan also. We were all there. Everyone was experiencing, because I was trying to remember, there's a group there and everyone's experiencing this little boy walking around. They start picking up on this little boy of the property, this little boy walking around. What's interesting is the geoport that I had was validating it through voices that was coming through. So it was saying certain things into what they were saying. So they were telling me things before it was happening. I was like hearing them. I'm like, wow. And then geoport would come through saying intelligent voices. And we learned that this boy possibly, who was dragged down the stairs, broke his neck, and was killed there, could be buried near the pond or something like crazy like that. And it's an old story that I don't know if it got kind of twisted in urban legend, but it's just weird. Like, these people didn't know anything about the location with that. So that's what was really interesting to me. So locations like that, like, fascinate me more than anything, because Hinsdale House is a location that has ufology, cryptid, paranormal, ghosts, apparitions, energies, elementals. I mean, man, you name it. This location has everything encompassed into this one huge property lot that people have experienced over centuries at this location. So, even dating back to the Native Americans and stuff that used to bless the land to suppress some sort of entity there. So it's wild.
It's definitely one place I'd love to go and visit. Definitely, 100%.
I have dreams about that place all the time. Have dreams about it. Me walking around there and looking around, and I'm on my own. There's nobody with me. I'm walking around that house and I'm thinking, I don't like it in here, and I've got no idea. But as soon as I put my hand to go on the the outside door, because you've got a porch door, haven't you? As soon as I put my hand on that, I sort of like, I can't get out. There's just no way I can get out for some reason. So I don't know why that is, but maybe I might have to have a venture there.
That's what it's, because you need me to come with you to protect you, to get you out of the house. You see, if that's what it's all about.
Yeah, possibly. But I went to New York just after Christmas with my partner, and we went to the Merchant's House. Have you visited the Merchant's House at all?
Where is that located? That is
it's just outside of the financial district, and it's the oldest mansion in New York State. It's
New York, yes.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful little house.
Yeah, with the cobblestone street. Yep. Yeah, I've been there, investigated it.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and I took my partner there, and it was lovely. But we were only there for a few days, so yeah. I did want to go and visit the Hinsdale house, but unfortunately didn't manage to get there. But that's one for the to-do list, I think.
Oh yeah, it's definitely worth going to. It's very mysterious, especially when you're driving up the dirt road, the property. The energy is incredible. So it's weird because everybody, so be warned, having dreams and being drawn there is something that happens to certain people, and you'll probably end up going there in the future whenever it happens. But that's what typically happens to everybody. It happened to me too.
Yeah, it was really strange because before I went to Detroit, I went to the Eloise Asylum there, and I'd had a dream, and I always talk about this because this is kind of, for me, it was unbelievable. I'd had a dream a couple of weeks beforehand, and I'd kind of moved house. I'd got all my sofas and everything in the house, and that night I dreamt that I was walking up a staircase. But as I was walking up the staircase, there was a window at the bottom, a door at the bottom, and a door at the top, but it had a window, and there was blue and orange paint on this wall. And I sat there, and I couldn't remember. I didn't know why I was being shown it, but this gentleman called John was showing me this, and he said, "You will see this." Well, it was up in the air whether I was going to travel because I lost my passport during the move. Mm-hmm. So I got my passport back, and literally 3 days before I was due to fly, my passport arrived. So I contacted my friend and said, "Everything's on, I'll meet you on such and such a day," and what have you. He actually took me down to the Eloise, and he went off investigating because he thought there was somebody in the Eloise Asylum. So he went off and tried to make it safe for everybody. And as I was walking around, we walked around the downstairs corridors. And as we did that, I was looking into certain rooms, and I was telling them all about things that used to happen in these rooms. And I will never forget it to this day. And as I got to the end, I said, "Oh, there's a gentleman here, and he doesn't like people being around here." I said, "He's very protective." And I said, "But there's a negative as well that's here." And I said, "And with that, he likes to scare people." And he was laughing at me, and he was, he's trying to frighten me. And I said, "You don't frighten me. You can't frighten me." I said, "I know you're here, so don't, you can't frighten me." And with that, I just said to one of the gentlemen that was in the group, there was about 5 of us in this group, and I said, "Can you tell me where this staircase is? Because I am convinced there's a staircase." And he actually said to me, I've been in this building for 2 years, and I've never seen that staircase." And as soon as he said that, this man, as clear as day, said, "I told you that." And I caught it on the voice recorder. And literally I said, "I need to find it." And she said to me, one of the young girls said to me, "I think actually I know where that is." And she took me straight to it, and it was exactly how I described it. But I'd had that dream for 2 weeks. And then I went to the Eloise Historic Village, and the lovely lady there gave me a book on the history of it. And as I was reading it, I kept hearing a page number, and I picked up the page number, and I looked through, and it was a picture of all the doctors, and I recognized him straight away. And when I looked at his name was John.
Wow.
And the things like that, I just think, wow, how can you, those dreams, are they specific?
Right.
Me dreaming about the Hinsdale house, me dreaming about other bits and pieces around, America that, that I'm supposed to visit with friends. Is that going to happen? What happens with that?
Yeah, no, I believe in visions and dreams, and like it goes back to listen to your intuition, listen to yourself, and dreams are very important. I think people mistaken like dreams for just like imagination or whatever, but I think it's something to look at closely because it's your subconscious trying to tell you something, to either what's to come or what's happening or something that's a deeper meaning, So I think you have to. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that things are meant to be, and they happen how they happen, and you're destined to whatever you want. But you have paths that you take. You could down the left path or the right, but it's based on how your energy and how you're feeling and whatever is happening in your life and your decisions you make. So, yeah, it's a life journey. So who knows? You'll probably be at Hinsdale in the future.
Fingers crossed.
We've got to go now. That's it. We've got Dan. Obviously Dan's part of our festival, and we've interviewed Dan, so obviously meant to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dan's one of my best friends. He's a good guy. Yeah, he's a great person.
I've spoken to him a few times recently, over the last few months. We've got to go. That's it.
Yeah,
we've got to go visit.
Yeah, it's a cool location. He's a loyal guy. He's awesome, and he's doing a great job with the Hinsdale and the restoration with the location. I think that's really what it's all about. And like I said, we have a huge project coming out together too. So stay tuned for that. We'll announce that very soon. But yeah, I'm just excited for, what's happening now. I think it's been a huge wait. A lot of people have been waiting to see what I was going to do next. I know it's been the ultimate question, and I get, you don't investigate anymore. You don't do this. That's all I've been doing. All I've been doing is that I just been really under the radar doing it because I felt like I just wanted to stick to my roots and what I'm doing and not be distracted by everything else, and really just go really, really a little bit further than I've done before. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what you both think too. I'm really curious to see what you think of Deathwalker and see what you think of the conceptual idea overall.
It's going to be amazing. I know that for a fact. It is going to be. I can't wait to see it. So we will obviously get all of the details from you so that we can pop them up, so people will be able to watch that next week, and look out for the announcements. So that'll be cool. So yeah, maybe one day we might see you. We might see you in the US.
Yeah, US or the UK. I mean, I might be out there next year. You just don't know. Maybe I'll be in the United Kingdom, so stay tuned for that. And a lot of projects to come, a lot of things I'm working on, and I'm just excited for the future. And thank you for, honestly, all the support you've given me through the years, and everybody else listening. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting where you cross paths with people, and I've met a lot of great people through my journey, and I just feel like the foundation that's been built is growing really strong, rather than the foundation is built and just kind of whatever, like a weak house, I feel like the foundation in the house is really strong. And I feel like all of us are family in this one kind of united way where we can all kind of come together and keep growing and evolving together. And that's basically what we're doing right now.
That's good. It's a good ethos to have though, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is. Too much negative in this world. Got to throw some positive.
Not too much.
Yeah. You mentioned your documentary, and yet again, that was, so you're doing it now as well as Jolene. That was one of the other things that was mentioned to me. Could I ask you about? So you yet again, you've brought up a subject that I was going to bring up.
Yeah, it's the threes. Everything works in threes. So we got 1, 2, 3 here to create this energy, and we can just read each other's minds now. So.
And I was also, another question we were asked to ask you was about you and books. Mm-hmm. Are we looking at any books coming out?
Yeah,
I know you've been mega busy filming. You've got documentaries. Basically, it's just what they're saying is it's not enough. Now we need more books too. So. But you're not busy enough already.
I think we'll be out, and I'm sending Paul over. Paul has everything, so Haunted Magazine probably be up in that really soon. Haunted Magazine will come out with a new article with all of our stuff, with some sneak peeks and stuff. But as far as a book goes, for me, another biography or whatever on my life, I think there's a lot to talk about for my second chapter of my life. I feel like I'm on the third chapter of my life right now, and it's like the last. Like I feel like I'm living my best life now, to be honest with you. And it feels great moving forward. It feels focus, energy, passion, and I feel like I finally am content, what I'm after and what I'm conquering. The first part, I had a book that came out called Chasing Spirits, The Building of the Ghost Ventures Crew. That came out when I was like 30. So a lot has happened within 10 years.
10 years. There's a lot to write about.
Oh my gosh. I saw a picture the other day of when I was first at Bobby Mackey's, and Bobby and I are really good friends. I'm really close with Bobby and Denise and Matt Coates over there at Bobby Mackey's Music World in Wilder, Kentucky. Shout out to them. They're great people. Love them like second family over there. And that will be another episode airing in Deathwalker, Bobby Mackey's location, and me investigating it for over a decade. And basically what we've concluded at this point, that and the Washoe Club are compared. So it's really interesting. But I don't know. It's interesting, the people you meet and then how you grow together, and time flies by. So I'm saying have fun at the same time, because it happens like that,
Yeah, definitely. So there we go. I've asked all the questions to ask, as well as some of my own. But like I said, some of my own, you brought up different subjects, and you told me what I wanted to know anyway without even asking you. So obviously meant to be.
Yeah, I guess that's how it happens when you have great conversations with good people. So
yeah, and it's good that you've been off the radar and you've been investigating, because otherwise you wouldn't have this awesome, documentary coming out to be able to air to the world. So that's great. So thank you for kind of giving us a little bit of an exclusive here in the UK for that. So
yeah,
Go on.
It's great. So we just need to kind of keep everybody in contact and just, you know, going forwards. Hopefully the Festival of the Unexplained is going to grow, and, you know, hopefully we may see you sometime in the future.
Yep. Absolutely. Can't wait to hang out with all you and have a conversation in person when that's,
I know, that'd be cool.
when we can. Yeah. So yeah, congrats on everything that you're doing, and best of luck. And yeah, just keep pushing forward. That's all we have to do. Keep moving forward. Can't stop.
Yeah. But anytime you're in the UK, please don't be a stranger. Just give us a shout. We're always invested. We've got quite a lot of investigations coming up next year.
Awesome.
Shepton Mallet being one of them.
I literally thought that as soon as Nick mentioned Shepton Mallet, and I thought, I am desperate to get in there. We've booked it for next year, and next year, I know you shouldn't wish your life away, but it's one of those places that's been on my list for such a long time. And because of lockdown and everything else this year, you know, we've not been able to do what we love. So come next year, we've got some really good places that we're going to, and Shepton is literally at the top of my list. That was probably one of the first places I booked this year.
Yeah.
So that's one of those places we look out for those figures and everything as well that you mentioned.
Great location.
Great to get.
Awesome.
But it's great. So, but thank you, Nick, for joining us this evening, and thank you for discussing everything, you know, that you've got coming up. It's really exciting. And, you know, we will put out on the Facebook page, on the YouTube and everything, all of the documentation that where we can find you, and the VidiSpace links and everything for you. So, you know, hopefully it's a great success. I'm not going to say hopefully, actually, it's going to be a great success. Yeah. Awesome. And it's going to be fantastic to watch that over the coming weeks.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, spread the word, let everyone know, and I'm excited. Some new stuff coming, and yeah, enjoy and have fun, and happy Halloween.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to personally say thank you to you for joining us and giving us your time today. And you know, we're very fortunate that we decided to go crazy and do a 36-hour long marathon this weekend. So just want to say thank you, everybody watching. And there's so much more to come. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We've got many, many, many more hours coming up. So we'll see you all shortly. Thank you again, Nick. It's very much appreciated. Thanks, Joe.
Bye. Thank you so much. Much love to everybody. And yeah, have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.